Did you know this simple roll of silver adhesive once saved an entire spacecraft and its crew from a cold, oxygenless death in the vacuum of the lunar void? Welcome, students, to Advanced Engineering and Historical Logistics. Today, we are stepping back from our hyperdrive engines and plasma shielding to discuss the single most important tool ever devised by the human hand. In the archives of the 20th and 21st centuries, it wasn't the supercomputer or the nuclear reactor that held the crumbling world together. It was a humble, sticky, incredibly resilient substance known to the ancients as duct tape. Now lean in, because if you plan on surviving a tour of duty, on a deep space freighter, or even just maintaining a colonial outpost on a dusty moon, you need to understand the molecular magic of this gray gold. We often joke in the engineering bay that if you can't fix it with duct tape, you aren't using enough duct tape. But where did this mythic status come from? To understand the legend, we must travel back to the mid-20th century, specifically the era of World War II. Contrary to popular belief, this material didn't start its life in a toolbox. It started in a factory under the name duct tape. Yes, you heard me correctly, like the waterfowl. It was named as such because it was backed with cotton duck cloth, and much like the feathers of a duck, it possessed a supernatural ability to shed water. During the Great War, soldiers needed a way to keep moisture out of their ammunition crates. If the gunpowder got damp, the mission was over. A factory worker and mother of 2 soldiers, Vesta Stout, realized that the current methods of sealing crates were too slow and difficult for soldiers under fire. She proposed a waterproof cloth tape. When the high command ignored her, she wrote directly to President Franklin D. Roosevelt. He saw the genius in it, and the duck was born. In those days, it was olive drab, matching the fatigues of the infantry. It was used to repair jeeps, seal bandages, and even keep firearms functional. In the muddy trenches of Europe and the humid jungles of the Pacific, it was the ultimate MacGyver tool before the term even existed. After the war, as the soldiers returned home and the era of suburban expansion began, the tape changed its coat. It turned silver to match the shiny new heating and air conditioning ducts being installed in millions of homes. Thus, duct tape evolved into duct tape. But why do we, as modern spacefaring engineers, still revere it? Because of the Apollo 13 mission. In the year 1970, when a lunar module was crippled halfway to the moon, the crew faced a lethal buildup of carbon dioxide. The square canisters from the command module wouldn't fit into the round holes of the lunar module's life support system. It was a literal square peg in a round hole catastrophe. The engineers on Earth didn't reach for a 3D printer or a laser welder. They grabbed a roll of duct tape, some cardboard, and a few plastic bags. They taped the system together, saved the crew, and cemented duct tape's legacy as the universal solution. It has been on every NASA mission since. If it's good enough for the vacuum of space, it's good enough for your leaky kitchen sink or your cracked starship hull. However, as your instructor, I must remind you that even the most powerful tools have their limits. We live in an age of sophisticated problems. We have quantum decoherence, we have gravitational fluctuations, and most importantly, we have what we in the industry call the human factor. You can repair a broken strut, you can patch a pressurized suit, and you can even temporarily hold a solar sail together with enough silver adhesive. But there is one thing that even the highest grade, multi-layered industrial strength duct tape cannot fix: stupidity. In my years of teaching, I have seen cadets try to bypass safety protocols with a quick strip of tape. I've seen technicians try to fix a software glitch by taping the monitor. This brings us to a very important piece of equipment, not for your toolbox, but for your wardrobe. It is our official duct tape solution apparel. This shirt isn't just a piece of fabric, it's a warning and a philosophy. It features the iconic roll of tape with a message that resonates through every workshop, from here to the Andromeda galaxy. Duct tape can't fix stupid, but it can muffle the sound. Think about that for a moment. As engineers, we are often surrounded by people who ask why the warp drive is making that clicking noise, or why we can't just tape the black hole shut. Sometimes the only logical response isn't a lecture on physics, it's a quiet acknowledgement of the tape's true power. While the tape might not be able to rewire a faulty brain, a well-placed strip over the source of the noise can provide the peace and quiet an engineer needs to actually get the job done. This shirt is the perfect gift for the fixer in your life. We all know that one person, maybe it's you, maybe it's your chief engineer, or maybe it's your father back on Earth who treats duct tape like a religious relic. They're the ones who see a broken world and think, I can stabilize that with a few horizontal strips. It's a badge of honor for the weary mechanic who has seen it all and knows that sometimes the simplest solution is the best one. In the grand tapestry of human invention, we have the wheel, the printing press, the internet, and duct tape. One allows us to move, one allows us to learn, one allows us to communicate, and the last one allows us to keep everything from falling apart while we figure out what we're doing. It is the ultimate bridge between it's broken and it'll hold for now. So, as you head out to your practical labs today, remember the history of the Duct. Remember the soldiers in the trenches, the astronauts in the cold dark of space, and the HVAC technicians in the crawl spaces of history. Respect the tape, use it wisely. And remember, when you're wearing the duct tape solution shirt, you're not just wearing a joke, you're wearing a legacy of survival. You are signaling to the world that you are a problem solver, a realist, and someone who understands that while we cannot always fix the fundamental flaws of the universe, we can certainly muffle the noise they make. Class dismissed. Go forth, stay sticky, and for the love of the stars, make sure you have a spare roll in your emergency kit. You never know when you'll need to save a spaceship, or at the very least, quiet down a particularly loudmouth lieutenant. The duct tape solution is always within reach. Get the shirt, embrace the silence, and keep the galaxy running, one strip at a time.